But it's actually not too bad. Okay, we just need to be moving forward very slowly and carefully. Don't say, oh, now implement all the backend for this app. That's not gonna happen. Okay, since we understand the coding, okay, you also need to think about the important part first. So for example, in this app, maybe I was thinking maybe we start from the admin side because the admin side you can then create vendors, right? And then we can go to vendors. Vendors will be allowing them to edit the items, and then you mentioned item will show up, and then finally, student they actually can go there can search. So you may have some of this kind of a logical, whatever you think is reasonable, but the idea is top down. Okay, it's from the most important to the less important. But first of all, we have to set up the database. And so far for mobile app development, I still feel that Firebase might be the best way to integrate with this one. Although the setup actually takes some time. Okay, so let's try to see if the AI can help us to set up this one. Okay, now we are going to work on the um, database integration with Firebase. Okay, let's start with the basic Firebase setup. Okay, so I think there will be a lot of manual stuff we need to do. For example, we actually need to go to Firebase and create a project. All right, see if I can create a new project. $5 lunch. Ah, okay, I'm gonna create this one. All right, so let's do all of this. They create option files and everything. They have a safe Firebase Bootstrap layer, placeholder, everything. And then later on, we will need to configure our project. Okay. All right, so this project is ready. We're gonna use this one later on. Okay. All right, so they also started adding all the dependencies and everything. Okay, so this part here, you gotta be careful. See the summarize. Okay, so basic setup is done. So they add all the dependencies, the files, the options, everything. Okay, but then what we need is that we need to configure the project with the project ID. Okay, and that will generate the right operation for you, and they will also do the command line everything. So since I have the project done here, right? So let me find out my project ID. This should be the project ID, right? So I have created the project and the ID is please configure it for me. Okay, so they should be able to run the command. That's the whole point of using all the Gen AI tools, coding tools. Okay, so they're gonna do the Flutter Fire command line. All right, so it's now installed. I think they will install it. We'll just let it go. You remember we did the same thing in class. It's a lot of steps. Okay, so this is a lot easier. But they're basically doing the same thing. They run in the command line in the background. We just need to provide information. But that's why I still want you to go through this process first, because otherwise you don't even know what's going on here. If someone imagine they don't know anything about coding, app development basics, then they're gonna stuck here. Okay, they don't know what to create, what ID, um, you know, the command line, errors, debugging. All right, so they configured everything. They have Firebase core. They also have a Bootstrap. All right, so they do suggest us to add a Firestore authentication and everything, but instead of doing that one, I want to make sure the thing is running. Okay, so now let's rebuild the app and rerun it and make sure the app is uh, still okay after the Firebase integration. All right, because that's a lot of changes and dependencies. Let's just make sure this one is still working. All right, so it looks like this is fine right now. Okay, so okay, so it looks like it's okay. All right. Okay, so now looks like the integration is done. They do suggest some Firebase, Firestore, Cloud Store to define initial collections for the users. I like that idea. Yeah. Yes. Let's start with all of this. Also, configure the the authentication as needed. All right. So if you remember the database, okay, so you have this whole project here. The most important thing is that the Firebase database. Oh, actually, no, it's Firestore database, yes. So this one, we have to start to create a database and everything. So let's see if they know how to do it or we need to do that. Okay, so they're going to add that dependency. They implement the core services and everything. All right, so they finish everything and they add all the dependencies, the collections, the data structures, that's all good. But we're gonna make sure they are all really connected, okay? Because here, if you go the database, we haven't even created it. I feel there's something maybe missing. Okay, so let's run it first, and then also the authentication. There also may be something you had to get things started. Okay, I don't see they do that one. Okay, so let's actually try to run the app, rebuild, and rerun the app, just to see what we can get. Okay, so the things are working. Um, okay, let's just try to do a sign up. Okay, so um, obviously this is not working. Even the screens are not even editable. Okay, so they did all the dependencies. Okay, but I do feel that there are still a lot of things we have to configure here. Okay, so now